Hello, everyone. It is Kenyon here, Basketball Rewind. This is being filmed after the draft lottery. We've conveyed the pick. So, yes, we will be talking about some of the other top 10s because we've talked about enough of the top 10s and then we've recorded them and I'm editing them. But largely, we're going to be talking about guys who are going to be available for 19 and a few guys who are going to be available for 31. But listen, we're not going to cover the whole draft because, we're kind of enjoying good basketball here. So, but we'll do the best that we can. So stay tuned on Basketball Rewind. Today, we're going to be covering Tristan de Silva, he should be around our range at the 19th pick. Do not see him slipping all the way to 20. But without further ado, Coach is going to do our introduction to one Mr. Tristan de Silva.
6'9", small forward, power forward. He's a senior out of Colorado. So I think he turns 23 in 3 days from now. So he is an older prospect. He is from Germany, right? He's from Munich, actually. And those of you who watched FIBA over the summer, Germany won the tournament. I don't know if he was on the team or not, but it'd be cool to see him in the Olympics, playing for Germany. And like Kenyon said, he's probably going to be slotted in there around that 19-20 range for sure. And look, he shoots the ball very well. He's got effortless form. He's had a pretty good pro career, or college career, I should say, at the University of Colorado. He played with Cody Williams, who's someone else that we've covered. It's a good program. And I think with Tristan de Silva, you know what you're getting coming into the league. He's a guy who's going to be able to contribute right away. I don't think you're waiting too long for him. So whoever picks him is going to have a guy who will probably play in the rotation right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go for it.
No, just to sum up, just kind of go with what Coach said. I really do like him a lot. Like, the word that comes to mind is polish. And I think, quite honestly, there haven't been that many Raptor picks where you can actually use that term and that descriptor. So, like, the fact you have a guy that's a polished player that could just come in and start to play. And I don't know, like, for sure, he's a guy probably at first could come off the bench, but like, if you told me a couple of years from now he's like a glue guy starting on this team, I would not be surprised. He has the ability to get a little bit of his own shot. He has the opportunities with the right matchup to score in the mid range, obviously from three, and to get to the hoop. Do I think he's going to be some 20-point per game scorer? Probably not. But if you told me in this case here the guy could give you 15 a night in his career, I would say that wouldn't be out possible. Or any given night he scores 30. There's going to be some, like, he's the type of guy I can see being that type of guy. So I am looking forward to, if he's there, man, I would love to get him. To me, he's my number one prospect in that territory for the Raptors in my mind.
Yeah, so just so people know, when you get a 19th overall pick, obviously we've had OG and whatnot. I think you're expecting them to eventually factor into the rotation, but even if you go back to OG's first year, it took him a little bit of time to get there. So again, just so people don't expect, because as soon as the lottery was done, they're like, oh, okay, the 19th pick, we can get someone, is gonna do all these things. It's just like, okay, but he is someone that I think will factor into our rotation. I think from a Raptors perspective, people forget that our rotation sucked, just flat out. Yeah, beyond, you say that I'm not straight up enough. I'm saying we stunk. Okay. Anyone that you get in by and large for the 19th overall pick will have a good chance of being better than anyone that played on our bench last year. Very good chance. And if they aren't, and I'm talking about in their first year, then that could be seen as an abject failure in terms of from a development standpoint, as well as from a draft evaluation standpoint. Because do you remember the names? Like, there was a lot of people that did not even play at times with contracts. I think one of our best players who played consistently from January onwards, and I'm not factoring Grady because Grady played in the starting lineup at that point. I would say was Jonte Porter. Like that was it, right? Chris Boucher didn't factor into the lineup. Kelly was starting, so he would probably be the de facto best player. Yeah. In terms of his overall metrics, he was basically a 50, 40, 80 guy. I'm rounding up a little bit because it's like literally like, 49, 39 kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. He's an extremely efficient guy. Shout out to Cody Williams as well. One of the first prospects that we covered this year, but he is his teammate. So, they did play on the same team and they had a little bit of a tournament run. It wasn't the most successful tournament run, but they were in the tournament. They did make it and they did make a run. I like a lot of things about him. What I noticed was he has a poise and a patience to his game where he doesn't buckle under pressure. I think that's probably the best way. He will get double teams thrown at him and he is not freaking out. He just waits for the good skip pass, boom, hits the guy, right? He has that height to see over defenses as well, and I think he can play multiple positions. He's kind of a Raptors-esque player if you think about it over the years of what they're looking for, except that we actually have a guy with a little bit of skill. He can dribble a little bit, he can pass a little bit, and actually not just like the fancy passes, but fundamentally good sound passes into the pocket. That's what you're looking for. We don't need flash at 19. You want someone who's going to get the job done and potentially go into an elite role player level. I'll get to the defense in a bit, but I think even, if you look at his offensive rebounding, metrics as well, like even that was fairly solid. You got to say, like, obviously just about one offensive rebound, a night, overall 5. That's a solid rebounder, right? A positive assist to turnover ratio, even though he's not the primary ball handler. These are very, very important things. And he did his shooting on volume. So I think that there's a lot of metrics there that show that he has a bit of upside and that he's ready. He's very much more NBA ready from a lot of standpoints compared to, some of the other guys that we've had over the years, just even because of age. So, yeah.
I'll just say, I think, just to follow up on that, is that I see him. I agree with everything you said there. And I think one of the things I like most about him is that he has composure. Obviously, I think he might have been the first guy we looked at when we started doing all the drafts. It might have been Cody Williams.
Yeah, Cody Williams.
So I started, I don't sit and wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, let's watch Colorado basketball." So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was on that desilva train from day one.
Yeah.
When I started watching the Cody Williams film, as it was very similar to Koulibaly a little bit, right? You're watching for the Cody Williams film, and all of a sudden you keep hearing this other dude's name getting called.
Right. You see this dude in the corner of your eyes. You're like, hmm.
Right. And I keep watching. Every time I watch Colorado, you're checking for Cody. And all of a sudden, and the thing was, I'm not knocking Cody, but I find his name always seemed to be kind of like, there's gaps where I don't hear his name get called all in a telecast. De Silva's always in the middle of it. Always in the middle of it. And I love that about him in this case from that perspective. Like, he's always find a way to be that straw stirs the drink. So I think, I keep on saying, man, I want guys that get after it. I want that to be the mentality of guys. And De Silva's one of those guys that gets after it. That's the type of guys that you're looking for.
Yeah, he was also, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years in a row, on the one year was the first team, and next year, this most recent year, he was on the second team. But he was all Pac-12, so he's one of the best Pac-12 players of the year.
Rest in peace, Pac-12. Rest in peace.
Yes. We'll talk about that another day. But I think that really counts for something, and I at the end of the day, like when you're coming in and you're at that level, you're not just, a nobody. There's a little bit of pedigree there for sure. I think other than that, I think it's just easy to just switch right into the defense. Because to me, the defense was also really impressive, unless there's anything that coach might want to add in terms of on the offensive end.
Well, I'll just add that beyond and us have somewhat talked about Darko's system.
Hmm.
I think you're willing to take maybe a swing on Darko's system at pick 19 versus pick 3 or 4, where it's going to be the talent. Ideally, you want to do both. But I think De Silva, the way that Darko wants to run his offensives, and he's a good floor spacer, doesn't need the ball that much, and we've already seen that he just knows how to play on offense. And Bobby made the comment at the end of the season, we want to surround Scotty with guys who could shoot and high IQ players. Well, Silva can shoot, and from what I can tell, whenever I watch Colorado play, he's very good connective piece as well. He's good at reading defenses. He's good at finding space on the court offensively, and he's a knockdown shooter. Like I can see him shooting around 40% from three throughout his career, especially as that is a skill that is so emphasized today. So I think Beyond had made the point either. I would not think it would be out of the realm of possibility that he could start maybe next year. I don't think it's going to happen, but it wouldn't shock me if it did, because he is 6'9". He's 23. He's 3 years older than Grady right now. So this team moving forward needs some guys that can play, because we've said be careful about surrounding him too many kids. He may be playing college, but I don't think he's a kid. He's older than Scotty, to be for the record. He's about a month or 2 months older than Scotty. So he's ready to come in now. He's ready to play.
The other thing I like about him too is that he's not one dimensional. Like he get his shot too, so which is good. Like he could get his shot when necessary. Because I think my concern with what the Raptors might be doing in this new era is looking for like guys that like slot guys in the spots. Well, you are only the 3-point shooter, and you are only the guy that can cut. You can't have guys like that. We sitting here watching playoff games every night. You need guys that can do multiple things, man. You just can't have a guy who just relies on just doing one, because those type of guys, they're sitting outside the bench beside the coach after the first round. You know, so like that's what I'm looking for. That's why I like with De Silva. He provides opportunity for different things. That if the clock is getting down to 6 seconds or less, and the ball happens to be in his hands, it's not like a grenade or something like that for him. He can do something with it.
Absolutely. I think the other thing, just to go really quickly back, one of you asked about the German national team. So it does seem like he did play for Germany. He's I mean, you could have guessed from the name, but he's also, technically he could qualify for Brazil as well, but he picked the right team based on how things have looked in recent memories. But yeah, he's played for Germany as a youth for their U20. And, he did pretty well at that level. I always really value FIBA experience. I think Germany is one of the European nations that has produced a lot of, talent in recent memory. I think, there's a Magic team that might have had two people on their squad that may have been, all right. Just saying. But overall, yeah, I think, he's someone that really could be an impact player. Also, it helps that I like to see when someone has an older brother that has been there and done that. Now, his brother obviously didn't make it to the NBA. I think he actually joined the everyone joins the OKC Thunder, of course, but he joined OKC Thunder as an undrafted guy for Summer League, didn't quite make it, and ended up on Barcelona, and has kind of remained there ever since. But the fact that you have an older brother who's kind of shown like, hey, this is what happens when you have to kind of work your way up. It's there. His brother too was good at defense, which brings us to our next discussion: defense. He plays really good defense. That's one of the first things that I noticed when I was watching him, and I think a lot of people are really focused on the offensive end because we've lacked that as well, and we still do need creators and stuff. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and championship teams definitely aren't either. I mean, we're talking about 3 to 6 years, and a man at the front office who is essentially saying that giving hints that he might be like Magic and say I might not be here no more. So at some level, I think a De Silva is very, very interesting. It doesn't necessarily accelerate your rebuild, but it accelerates the development of at least one prospect because you don't have to have essentially building a guy from clay and starting from scratch. But his defense was impressive. There were times when and sorry, this has been a little long-winded, when he stuck to his guy like a wood tick on a damn dog. It was really impressive. I think he's very switchable. He has his hands. I hate it when guys have their hands like this down. Get your hands up. That's just like elementary. Coach will talk about it. Beyond will definitely talk about it. Right? I ain't naming no names on this team because I'm talking about good basketball right now. Fundamentally, that is just common sense. You don't put your hands behind your back like you're making fun of the dude. You actually play proper defense. And as simple as that. Those are my thoughts so far. Sorry. Beyond, your thoughts, because this is your man.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the part that really jumped out at me when I watched him live, and then obviously going back to watch the film and the footage on him. He's a two-way player, man. And like, if you're looking to build a team to get to the point where you're playing at this time of year, you need as many of those guys as possible. And I think one of the things that doesn't get talked a lot about, in the spaces or even amongst even Raptor, the infrastructure and the discourse. I'm talking about from the websites and stuff like that as well too. Everyone's so gung ho about what is it? What was it? 3 seconds or less? What was it in this case for all year? We're talking about the Darko way offensively. How much time you had to move? I can't remember what you said, 5 seconds or less or whatever it was. Everyone's so focused on that.
Oh yeah, 0.5.
0.5. That's 0.5. 0.5. 0.5. I can't remember. I try to blurt it out in my mind. The 0.5. But hey, I said before, I give another shout out to Mouth in this case, Mouth the North. All year he banging on this, man. We don't play defense. You can't be playing at this time of year and can't play defense. And we don't have enough guys that are actually just. I'm not asking everyone here to be like Ron Artest or World Peace, whichever way you want to go.
Yeah, giving people the bows.
I'm just asking for a guy to be competent on defense. That's all I'm asking for. Just to be competent. And we have so many below average defenders on this team.
Yeah, point of attack, help defense, rim protection. Like Pirtle can at times is a solid defender, but he ain't no Rudy Gobert, that's for sure. And as a rim protector, he's not a good rim. He's not a rim protector actually. This is why we miss Koloko.
Take that out of your mouth. He masqueraded as one. He is not rim protector. Okay, I see guys in this case guards. Eyes bulging out their eyes like when Darko's upset with a foul.
You saw Miles Bridges of all people bodying him and just
Bridges, you can say what you want about off court, but when it comes to finishing around the hoop, he's one of the best. And when he saw food, in this case here, the quote Bomani Jones, when he saw Pearl eat the hoop, is like, that dude is all you got left to block the rim? Hell no. And too many times I see too many guys, the guards just getting and ones or dunks on Pearl, like they had as if he wasn't even there. So, like, to get enough guys that actually have shot blocking ability, stay in front of their man, be able to switch, as you said before, we need dudes like that. And I said before, you just want competent guys. Look at here as we speak. Everyone talk about the Pacers. Oh, the Pacers don't play any defense. All it took was the Pacers to get 2 guys or so just to change the chemistry. Because now all of a sudden the minutes now are moved to more guys that actually can play both ways. So instead you have a Buddy Hield out here, you have Pascal Siakam. All right, there's a bit of a difference in this case here.
The difference there, yeah.
Right, so that's up 35 minutes of Buddy Hield you're getting. Where it's like, oh my gosh, we're now sacrificing all sorts of defense in this case, left, right, and center. No,
it's actually one guy that I'm glad we didn't end up getting in that trade.
Wouldn't. Because what happened when we went to Philadelphia?
He got cut out of rotation, and then you have Daryl Morey essentially saying like it didn't really work out too well.
No kidding, Daryl. No kidding. You do the same mistake every year. No kidding. So that's what I'm saying.
My bad.
Why is it the Buddy Hield stuff? I'm like, you know what? He's there just for a moment. Great. If not, we could move on without it because I was not losing any sleep on Buddy Hield. I won the draft pick. Buddy Hield was just collateral damage. But that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, you need guys like that. And Indiana got a couple guys that can play that way and got rid of some guys that can't defend and out of their system. And those type of things mean something. So that's what I'm looking for, man. That's what I'm saying. Now, if you can take 25 minutes away from a guy that can't play defense, great.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Noir is a perfect example where he has some sort of offensive juice, but like he has no defensive chops. and that's really what's holding him back. And I have more faith in Ochai developing a consistent 3-point shot than him developing. Like I mean, I saw a one closeout near the end of the season where like literally like the man was in front of him and his feet he did his closeout where his feet were at like almost a 90-degree angle and like
You know what?
it was so I
If
was
there's
like
a slow time this summer, which I doubt there will be this year because of the Olympics, but if there's a slow time this summer, it could be just a little appendage. We need to discuss about the loss of fundamentals in basketball at the professional level.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of those dudes have been in the league for some time.
Yeah,
I
don't
mean,
start.
I'm not gonna get Coach started on
Don't
his
start me,
favorite
man.
his favorite bench player, but there's been years where having nice, I'll say, I'm gonna be mean today. Nice, competent play has been
Yeah,
lacking.
lacking. Like it serves a coach, man. Your thoughts on defense, man.
Well, I think he's just a competent defender, like you said. He's able to switch off on guys. He seems like he's strong at anticipating the next possession.
Hmm?
So getting into that spot to shoot the gap, to get a steal, or when someone rotates, he's able to see the next rotation where he has to go. And that's a skill that's not easiest to pick up on. You need it, of course, especially at college and the NBA. It just goes to show this kid just knows how to play. Is he going to be like Beyond said? Is he going to be Ron Artest? No, but you need guys who are going to be good help defenders and who can just, for the most part, be able to stay in front of their man and switch off on guards and maybe forwards. Colorado did something interesting this year. They put him in the middle of the zone wherever they played zone. Now, why would you put him in the middle of the zone?
To
Because
break it up.
he's able to be the best one there probably to communicate and anticipate. Put your
Right.
smartest player in the middle of the zone.
Mhm.
So now the NBA plays a little bit of zone, not like college. That's just because of the defensive three and the key. But I know I sound like eating I sound like a broken record. But this guy knows just how to play, and if he's there at 19, I hope they really consider him. Beyond kind of sold me on him because I watched him in the tournament. Man, this guy's pretty good. And then he really started to shoot up some draft boards. It's like this guy is ready. He could be the Jaime Jaquez of this draft. And last time I checked, Miami does a pretty good job at drafting players who know how to play. Maybe it's time Toronto gets more of a polished kid, like Beyond said, because it's been a while since we've had a polished prospect
I mean, it'd
ready to
just be
go.
nice to not take a guy who you think you're gonna have to teach. Like, the ceiling is and it's like, okay, great, but you only have a certain. This is what people forget. You only have a certain amount of time in the NBA. You only have a certain amount of minutes. Just like time is your most precious resource. Do you have the time to develop this guy and get him to that 99th percentile outcome where it's like the future face of the league or whatever the heck it is, right? For whoever it is, right? You say if everyone has, and I don't think everyone has the same 99th percentile outcome, but you know, you have to look at pathways to get there. And I think that a guy who comes in that's a little bit more skilled at times. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I like Grady. I said before, and people got mad at me at the time, but then they turned around, they understood what I said. I said he is our most skilled prospect that we have drafted from just a raw, pure basketball skill. I'm not talking about like the quote unquote, as they say, the talent, where it's like there's athletic gifts. He has that too, but just in terms of skill, being able to dribble, being able to shoot, being able like you're not like from an offensive standpoint, you're not like he's starting from scratch. But if he learns how to dribble and he learns how to shoot and he learns how to steal and he learns how to pass, like, he could be a ting, right? So yeah,
I like that. Hey,
And just talking it out with you guys, his greatest asset, like De Silva's greatest asset for this team, is not going to be on the offense. We've been talking about, like, how many times we hear on these spaces and post game shows looking for a wing defender, right? You can make an argument.
I'll even give Zazu a shutout here. He even complains
Right.
about the defense.
So,
How
right,
often? So
right.
there you
So
go.
right, and I give you look at how the team's situated. It gets Scotty out of situations where he's guarding those wings is not his strength. Let's put it that way. At this point in his career, so if you can get a guy who can help him and say he's chasing around these guys around screens and stuff like that, for that reason alone, he's worth the value. Never mind the fact he's got offensive gifts as well too. But like, I mean, I don't know, like when I think about it, for wing defenders in this draft, he's probably up there. I mean, Dunn is number one easily. That's
100%.
his easily. But after you get past him, I mean, there's gonna be Holland's gonna be in the mix, but there's not many more better than Silva.
No. No. So yeah, I mean, I guess here's my question from that. Now that I don't have to say, oh, well, is it Castle or this or is it Matas or is first of all, would you trade up to try to get De Silva if it's like Boucher or something like that, and you're trying to?
I mean, as much as I do like him a lot, I don't know if this draft anyone's worth trading up for at. Like, I mean, De Silva. What's the earliest we think De Silva could go? What? 13?
Maybe that's your Lakers pick. I guess.
Right. Because I mean, he's gonna hover around the 15 to 19 area. I don't think he gets past 20 for anybody because the team that's most likely
you're
to
just
get
hoping that he falls you. So you think that there's enough talent around that area that if he's not there, that you're happy with?
Find something else. But I think he distinguishes us because he's the most ready to play right now.
Right.
But like that's fine if you get someone some other guys we'll talk about and you've already done around that area that are I'm okay with that pick. But like let's face it, there's a team right now, you mentioned them already, Coach, that's just a couple spots ahead of us. And I'm pretty sure if he's on the board, they're gonna go down that road. Especially considering what Mr. Butler and Mr. Riley's relationship is like right now. They might want some big wing at this point.
Oh, this guy screams Miami. He really does. And any prospect that's in their third or fourth year, just nope. We're trying to win now the Miami way. We're not looking to develop guys. They traded Precious Achua after 1 year to us. They didn't want to develop him.
Yeah,
right.
Well, they knew.
There's that point too, but no, De Silva's. I think he's ready. Beyond, you've kind of sold me on him. He's there at 19. He's got to be under consideration unless some other guys fall back that maybe should have went ahead, because we saw this with OG's draft. OG was supposed to be a top 10 pick and he fell to us at like 22 or 23 because he tore his ACL, like partially tore it that year. The teams were like, I'm going to stay away from this guy. There will be guys that fall, but if this kid's there at 19, consider yourself, lucky to maybe draft him.
One of the things that I like about our conversations is that we actually, you see it, but not necessarily in a Raptors space. Is I think not everyone's talking about the interpersonal aspect or like the culture change and that sort of thing. Some people try. I don't know if they're necessarily always doing the best job because they sometimes people overanalyze those things, but those things are important. And I think that he's someone that could come in and really help to change the culture into something that's a little bit more mature moving forward. Just in terms of how he approaches the game on court. I mean, you want to have fun, you want to skip around and enjoy, have joy for the game for sure, but you also want to at the end of the day, get to work and enjoy your work, and have guys that hold each other accountable. It's not something that, especially that accountability factor, I don't think we've had that in a long time. And I don't think it exists on this roster currently. It's just not, we talk more about vibes, which is good, but I don't think we talk about accountability actually. If I think the only person that actually talked about it was, funny enough, was RJ. In the last Open Gym.
That's not surprising.
It isn't surprising. So, but yeah, so that's the type of thing that's kind of important to have moving forward. Any final thoughts, Coach? It looks like you have a thought.
As I said earlier, Bobby already said this. He said we want guys who can shoot and high IQ players. If Scotty's the guy that they're planning to build around, which I think he is, this kid De Silva fits both the criteria that he has just said.
Do you think he's a better fit than? And I'll separate offense, defense. Offensively, is he a better fit than Tyler Smith?
Right now, I would say yes. Possibly yes, yeah.
Okay.
I think Tyler Smith has a little more pop in his game.
Mm-hmm. Defensively, it's not comparable, so I'm not even going to bring it up.
The other problem. That's the Yeah, on that front, that's where I'm very nervous about some of these prospects because
Yeah.
this coaching staff and this organization seems to have forgotten about defense, and that makes me nervous. So the
Mhm.
only way I think we're going to actually inject defense into this is if we get enough guys that actually have that coming into the team from their own college
And are
mindset.
you okay not getting a potential big?
You mean like trading up to get a higher pick?
No, a big.
You
Well,
mean
let's put it this
between
way.
19 and 31 without
Yeah,
no big with either pick? Sorry,
Yeah.
John.
No, I'm with you, coach. Like I'll put it this way. I'll go as far as say if De Silva's off the board, then I'm looking at big.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I mean, I don't have anything else to add. I don't know if you guys do, but if we don't, then I guess that's another piece.
I think you need a big at some point in this draft. If it's De Silva at 19, you might want to look for one at 31.
I
And
still think
there'll be some
Ulrich
bigs there.
is interesting. I, I told Coach that he got a shout out on a different pod, but we'll talk about that later. For now, we're gonna focus on basketball rewind. Like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy these as the prospect stuff comes out. You will see a couple more for the top 10, but not too many more because we got to get to things that actually matter and are actually affecting our team. All respect to the others. So, with that being said, it's been fun. Take care, peace, and everyone stay safe and well. Take care.